As the wind erodes and the water corrodes, altering everything we think we know, but we don't. It's all temporary, and it used to, but now the thought doesn't scare me or keep my feet from following one after another until I slumber. Then my mind, not my feet, wander and dream of people and places I'll never see again. I've mended as much mental anguish as I can, and now I try to use this language to take these thoughts from my head to my pen. Cause though I don't speak of my dead friends or the circumstances, often the blow never softens or yields. I'm in a desolate field, lonesome stargazing, night blazing, chasing traces of remembrance and reverence of relevant friends and acquaintances, and faceless and nameless names and faces. And while my mind is racing through these photo albums and quotations, all these people and places far from me, for only land and stars I see when I'm outside of the Mile High City, which is not my city, for I was born 1,000 miles northeast of there in the land of beer and lakes and pistol fire on MLK's birthday, where there is no minorities and segregation's mandatory. But that's a whole nother story altogether, and no matter the weather or hardships that any place brings, I'll still laugh when people shiver and say it's freezing, or say, hey, no, wait, I already had 18 mixed drinks, but I guess it's a Midwest thing, and I'm a mess from a dirty city and brought most of this filth I've gathered with me.
Here we are on another episode of Experience Andy Weins Live. This week, we're going to talk about the importance of consistency over time and how it leads to excellence in your real world. So we're going to focus on what makes you the best at what you do and how you plan it out, prepare for it day in, day out. Coming up after the verse.
My work labors on as lovers sleep in each other's arms, remaining calm and collect. I begin my self-reflection process of redemption. Honestly, I don't know where this road leads, or if I'm even going. Could be rowing upstream, or worse, chasing my dreams to the peak, to finally be somebody doing something with what I have, rather than saying again and again that I can't and I won't anymore from this day forward. Cause Lord knows the past is set in stone, the present is yours to mold and to use for future uses. I know I'm a nuisance, I'm told, cause I'm neither young nor giant nor gnome. I don't sleep on these streets usually, though I've made thrones of my own. I don't sit well with idle hands, though don't know what to do when I'm home all alone. I'm a menace thrown from society, and as it lies to me, I'll smile silently as others do as they please. I am watching and listening, and I'm grinning all the while, cause sometimes all you can really do is smile. So as the work labors on, I'll keep on singing my songs, and this day is never done. We just keep on spinning around that sun, and well, through all these miles and trials, all I've learned to do is smile. Is to smile.
Welcome to another episode of Experience Andy Weins Live. This is our 9th episode, kicking off our third month in business, if you will. Kicking off this week, and we're going to talk about taking what we've covered in the last couple of weeks. We've covered making plans, prioritization, doing analysis of your 2 weeks. What do you do for those 2 weeks? What are times where you're productive and not busy? Because I often talk about the word busy. Busy is bullshit. I talk about it in my book, Words Fucking Matter. Available now on Kindle audiobooks. So available now. Words Fucking Matter. Retrain your brain to use language that serves you right here. Paperback, Kindle, and audiobooks are now available. All right. So we've built on set your goals, prioritize, and now practical application. And we'll start with the why. life is messy. There are a lot of uncontrollables. There are things that happen day in and day out in your life that will set you back. They will set you up for failure. They will be difficult, complicated. Some may say hard. I hate that word, hard. It's complicated. Life is complicated, and there's a lot of things that come at you. And how you respond to that is a true test of character. When we do not plan, we often find ourselves reacting to stimuluses. We react to people versus responding to situations. We react to what's going on in front of us instead of responding with where we are going in life. And the reason why this is so relevant today, this morning I got a text message from the producer of this show, Taylor, who also produces my other podcast. And he said, "Hey, Andy, grandfather passed away, funeral today, or it was yesterday, and the burial's today now," and said, "Not gonna be able to make it in." And I thought, okay, that's okay. We'll adjust, right? I know for me, my Mondays are set up every week. And because I was set up this week, like I am always, something like that, a death in the family, which is unexpected and yet happens, doesn't throw my whole day off. It doesn't throw my whole week off. And in the past, it would. I would have either no plan at all, where I just kind of went laissez faire, or I would have a plan that was so structured and rigid, it had no room for flexibility. And I didn't build a plan out of processes and principles. I built a plan out of what was good and convenient that day. So transparency for me, someone passed away, producer can't come in, and yet we've already had a plan in place. He already wrote an SOP on how to press the button and launch StreamYard. He already had a process in place where the video is lined up where all I have to do is press the button. And even though he normally pressed the button, he's taught me how to press the button. So when something unexpected happened, I followed the plan. It was that simple. Also, with my weeks, I set up my days and my weeks according to what I know works best. So I've done 2-week analysis, and I've done start, stop, continue methodology of change, which we talked about in other episodes. And then based on that, I plan out my week accordingly. And so I prioritize by putting the things in on my week that I naturally do not tend to do or want to do. The things that I'm not like, oh, I'm excited to do that. So when I structure my week, I start with a basic plan. Mondays are for the mundane. Mondays are for meetings. Mondays are the things that I won't normally gravitate towards. So content is a prime example. I used to have my content on Thursdays, and I would often find an excuse by Tuesday or Wednesday why I couldn't do content on Thursday, and then I wasn't consistent with my content. And then I moved it to Mondays, and I used to spend 4 or 5 hours on Mondays doing content. And I looked at the content, what was serving me, what was serving the audience, what made me money or made me happy, made me cry, made me think. If it didn't do any of those things, if I was doing it and it felt like a chore, it started to feel like work, right? It wasn't a reward, right? Content for me is a reward. I get to do content. So I took from somebody else, Erin Marcus, and she said she does one live show, 15 minutes once a week, does it, has smart people then create blogs and everything else out of it. So that's what I've done. So that's why I did it on Mondays. And when we first started this, I did Mondays at 1:30 p.m. And now I moved it to 3:30 p.m. because I had a marketing meeting on Thursdays. It's been on Thursdays for 4 years, 5 years. It's been on Thursdays for as long as I can remember. And the reason I had it on Thursdays was because when I worked for Waste Management, Corporate America, we had our meetings on Thursdays. So I followed the playbook that I knew at the time. And as I was doing start, stop, continue methodology coming in here to Q4, I thought, hold on, if Monday's for the mundane and Mondays and meetings are mundane, why is it I have this meeting on Thursday? And there wasn't a very good reason. So I reached out to the marketing company, looked at our internal schedule, and I moved that meeting on Thursdays to Monday. And running that meeting, that marketing meeting for Camel Crew junk removal, which pays my bills, is a priority. I need to do that before I get to do a podcast, before I get to come on and do Experience Andy Weins Live. And so now I've stacked up my week where I do the things that are generally the most painful right away. I get them, I check them off. And typically for me, the painful stuff is the stuff that's super detail oriented, the stuff where it's a meeting where we're talking. I like getting shit done, not necessarily talking about the things that need to get done. I'd rather work on the things that need to get done. And yet it's a priority to me to take the time to plan and brainstorm with the other strategic members and key members of our organization. and I schedule it when it's convenient for me. And I surround myself with really smart people that are good and have strengths that are outside of my own strengths. So Emmy, my virtual assistant, she's the one that runs the agenda. I pay her to hold me accountable. We have a 9 a.m. meeting and a 1300 meeting. She's the one that keeps me on track. I always have a weekly 30 minutes with her where she gets me back online and back in track. Those are all done on Monday so that I am set up for success throughout my week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I work in my business. That is the time for me to grind. When it comes to Camo Crew this week, top priority is training our new operations person. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week, I am training somebody in operations. I'm doing that and I'm having lunch. That's it. At lunches, I'm doing networking, one-on-ones, meeting new people. My goal is to sit down and have 250 one-on-ones each year. So it's basically lunch every day. I need to meet somebody new. Again, prioritization. And then when I put in that work, I've done the mundane on Monday. I've put in the work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday is for me to focus on the future. Friday is the time where I work on myself. Friday is the time that I work on my business. And I put the time aside. I've spent the whole week. I guarantee you by Friday morning, there's a pain point. There's something that happened throughout the week that I do not want to have happen Monday the following week. And I have Friday set aside to resolve that issue. This Friday, I go to Vistage. Vistage is a CEO group that I'm part of. It's a roundtable I've been part of for almost 4 years now. And when I first started, we had 3-quarter-day meetings. So it was on Thursdays. It was 6-hour meetings. And I first got into roundtables. I thought, there's no way I can set aside 6 hours. Are you kidding me? I got to be in my business. I can't be away from my business for more than an hour. It'll burn down. And then I challenge myself. I push myself, say, okay, is that really true? And it necessarily wasn't. So I started doing 6-hour roundtables. And then we moved to 8 hours. And then I got moved to Fridays. And so I'm starting to see the proof in the pudding. And then I realized, well, hold on. If I can be out one Friday a month, what stops me from being out one Friday a week? Why can't I take off a day each week? And not off as in not working, but off as in out of the building, working on myself, working on the business externally. What do I need to do to prepare the team so that I am confident in their ability to run the company at or above the standard? And so that was the work I needed to do. Now, all of a sudden, that became my priority. And because of that, 3 years ago, now on Fridays, I have allocated that time to focus on the future. And it allows me to have Saturdays and Sundays a full reprieve. So I look at all the things that serve me through Start, Stop, Continue, and I develop my entire week, month, and year around those goals. As I'm sitting here talking, I'm talking about 250 one-on-ones a year. I know what the numbers we need to hit within our organization, looking at our monthly KPIs. Like today, we had our monthly KPI report. First Monday of the month, we do our KPIs, or key performance indicators from the previous month. So that tells us where we're at year to date, where we were at last month, what trends we're seeing, and what do we need to do today so that next time we have a KPI meeting, the issues that came up are resolved. There's always going to be issues in your business, always going to be issues in your life. You can sit here and talk about the 100 things that are wrong in your life, or you can identify the 2 or 3 controllable things that push you to have the greatest pain right now, here, today, and what are you going to do about it? Excellence, as Aristotle talks about, is a habit. What are you habitually doing that makes you excellent? Analyze the things that make you excellent. Choose to start, stop, or continue to do things that will continue to make you excellent. And prioritize. For me, I use a calendar. I use a whiteboard. I talk about these things. I also hold myself and other people accountable by we use a software called Good Day for our project management. I have meetings where I pay people to hold me accountable. I go to a CEO roundtable where the fellow members of the CEO roundtable hold us accountable. All of these things, these habitual things, week in and week out, push me to be excellent. Vince Lombardi talks about it, right? We can strive for perfection and settle for excellence. My challenge to you this week is very simple. Do your analysis. Figure out your stop, start, and continue methodology. And then what are the habits? What will habitually make you excellent in your world? And if you come back to me and say, hey, Andy, here's my system. It's completely different than yours. This is what works for me, and it's awesome. I'm going to give you a thumbs up. The goal is not to emulate others. The goal is to figure out what works best for you and then push yourself. I talk about it. My goal is not to be a motivational or inspirational speaker. My goal is to give you the tools and resources that I utilize that push me to get where I'm going in life. And when you decide that you want to go somewhere in life, you decide that you want the reality that was a dream at one point. When you decide that, when you build goals around that, when you prioritize the action steps necessary to get you to that goal that you've thought of your entire life, it's time to prioritize your time. We all get the 168 hours of the week. What do you need to do day in, day out, week in, week out, month over month, and year over year to achieve your goals? Write them down, give yourself some SMART goals, and get out and execute. Today, this week, and always, the goal is simple: do the fucking thing.